This thing will drive. Even in a 2-foot wave, you'll be able to project your turn. So
Oh,
to me, that's a really cool feeling that I've kind of always tried to stick close to with a lot of my shapes. So yeah, that'll translate with the Neutrino as well.
how's it? This is Dave from Hawaiian South Shore, and we finally got the man Tomo. What's up, brother? How's it going?
What's up? Good, Dave, mate. Good to catch up with you. Finally, we've had a few near misses in the past, but you got me this time.
Yeah. So I wanted to go over the new Neutrino. When I first saw it, Mark Pesh showed me, and the tail I was watching it from a zoom, and it looked kind of funky to me, and I was like, wow, what a tail. But can you break down the whole outline of the board and then work your way from the nose to the tail, the bottom contours, and then go into the thought process of the big square tail?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a lot of people, can be put off by the width of the tail and the different kind of features of the board. But the way I look at it, I study a lot of historical design, in particular planning hole design, and that shape really come about by studying and testing the Simmons boards back early 2000s with Richard Kenvan and the Hydrodynamic project. So out of that kind of like journey of like studying like older designs based on kind of more fluid dynamic theories of, improving the water flow around the object of the board, straightening the rail lines and the rockers, and trying to create a lower drag board. We got a really cool feeling out of those style of shapes with like kind of narrow central wide points with wide tail blocks. And you guys could appreciate it if you look back to some of the more earlier Hawaiian shapes, even like go back to some of Duke Kahanamoku's shapes. They were really like planky kind of wide tail block kind of shapes, and that's a real traditional shape over all of modern surfing and even further into the past. So I feel it's a really functional design that I've kind of like shrunken down into its smallest possible package, and applied some modern rockers and modern rails to give it a performance-y feeling, but still give you a really cool feeling of speed and glide and that traditional kind of flow that certain boards give you that really stoke you out and give you a lot of fun.
Yeah. So when you made this board, did you just take some of the DNAs of past boards and put them together? And then, I mean, just the concept of just chopping it off from what you've had in the past. Did you just do a lot of testing and had team riders test it and just get some feedback? Is that how you do it?
Pretty much, or mostly I just do a lot of my own personal feedback. So the design is very similar to my Nano design, but based in that early O's kind of time frame to 2008 kind of was when I started playing with those real high performance mini Simmons shapes. So it's kind of a bit of a throwback to that design with some modern tweaks, just a little bit more refinement in the rocker and the rails and whatnot. I just find those boards just that you can look at it like an old design that's been modernized, or you can also look at it like high performance shortboard that you just chop like a few inches off the nose and a few inches off the tail, and you keep that functional part in the center of the board that's really working for you, and you kind of get rid of the extremities of the pointed nose and the real pulled in tails. So that's another way to visualize what the design's doing. But all in all, it's still a performance board, but it's just given the functional surface area and the rail on the board is just optimized, just to give you the smallest possible package of a high performance boards, which just translates into a real fun board.
Yeah. So is it like because when Macy came in after he was riding it, he was all jazzed on it, and then we took a straight edge and just went through from the nose all the way through the tail. It looks like it's like a concave that starts pretty far forward and it just gets deeper and deeper, and then inside of that there is a channel. Is it like two channels, or is that what it is?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a 4 concave contour
Okay.
within a single concave. I call it quad inside single concave. That just basically gives you like little concave surfaces within the concave itself. So it really just helps give the board extra lift and speed when the energy in the wave is weak. So you can look at this design to be optimized when the wave energy is lacking, and you need your board to maximize that little energy that's in the wave. That's when this board really is optimal and has its sweet spot. So you can call that grovel. You can call it a groveler, or you can call it a board when the waves are a little soft. It could be head high, it could be even overhead. But a lot of time we go to the beach and it's like super high tide and kind of mushy, and that's the kind of days where I like go to my Neutrino, like, oh yeah, that's the board. I can just blast through the flat sections and still like have the speed to wrap it right back to the pocket and find the speed to connect the dots, when the wave shape's lacking. So I think that's where people are really going to find this board gets up and going and fits in their quivers.
Yeah, because when I was talking to Macy, he was saying that the biggest thing he notices when he does a big roundhouse cutback, the thing just slingshots him back. And when I seen his videos, you can tell it just like he picks up speed through the turn. It was amazing. And I thought the big square tail would slide out, but he said it doesn't. And he took it out on a couple overhead days too, and he said it doesn't slide out at all, which is pretty trippy.
Yeah. So it's unique, and it's all about the way I engineer my curves to be really, really straight right through the rail. So if you compare it to, say, a lot of like groveler boards out there, that might have a super wide, they might be short and really wide in the center, say like maybe even 20 inches wide or around that mark.
Yeah.
And then their tails kind of pull into a more of a pulled in tail, which traditional logic suggests that's how you get your control. I'm kind of going about a groveler in a different mindset, where I'm kind of like keeping the rails real parallel all the way through, and then bringing that central wide point into like more similar to a high performance shortboard width. So what that does is you get the width in the tail that you need to get all the speed and flow through a small gutless wave, but you're gaining drive through straightening your rail lines and your rocker lines. So what you have is a board for grovel that still maintains the drive of a bigger board. So you're getting drive and projection, whereas a normal groveler might be really wide and have efficient surface area, but they just are really lack drive. They're real squiggly, wiggly kind of little boards. This thing will drive. Even in a 2-foot wave, you'll be able to project your turns. So to me, that's a really cool feeling that I've kind of always tried to stick close to with a lot of my shapes. So yeah, that'll translate with the Neutrino as well.
So it's like an everyday board.
Surprisingly enough, mate.
Most days it's not pumping.
I know, exactly. So that's reality, and there's a lot of shapes out there that are like great designs for like good waves, which we all hope to get all the time. But the reality is, like 80% of the time we go to the beach and we've missed the magic window, or the tide's a bit higher, or whatever the situation might be. It's great to have a board like that in your back of your car that you can just be like, oh, I'm gonna be going fast, I'm gonna be having fun, and I'm still gonna be ripping, So that's where that board fits in the quiver.
Yeah. So when you're paddling into the wave, having a wide tail like that, does it actually help you get into the wave a lot faster also?
Yeah, it's all about just maximizing your functional surface area into a smaller package. Yeah. So you got more foam in the tip of the tail, the tip of the nose. You got the width in both areas, so that balances out to be quite a stable little rectangular shape. So it's got stability to paddle. The width in the tail will pick up the wave's energy, and the width in the nose will allow you to paddle quite forward on the board, and just crunch the numbers into tighter, smaller packages of functionality.
Yeah. So what is the number one? Well, what are the top 2 things that people ask you when they look at the board?
Yeah, well, it's quite common. It's funny. I mean, like my whole design career, I get a lot of curious questions, or people writing off the shapes based off first glances. maybe they think they're gimmicky or whatnot. But when it comes down to it, like when you ride them, they make a lot of sense. I'm just approaching design from a little bit different perspective than a lot of guys, and kind of like leveraging, more, boat design or like functionality of like creating a scientific effect across the water. Maybe it's creating more lift with the wind that travels under your board as you're going across the wave. There's an element of aerodynamic lift too that most people don't consider. So having a little wider nose, you can kind of feel the air coming under the board, lubricating the board with the concaves under the board. So you're just getting this lower drag sensations. You still get that nice drive with the elongated edge. They do have their limitations at times. They do go too fast for a powerful wave, and you will start sliding out and getting skaty. That does happen, and in people's understanding, that's maybe what they think, when they see the wide tail. But the reality is, in certain wave conditions, these boards perform beautifully and exceed most traditional designs in a lot of ways.
So do you think this board, is it for more intermediate to better surfers or just better surfers?
No, I'd say just about anyone. Like, I think the width of the tail and the rectangular shape will suit a beginner to intermediate very, very well. Like, as a transitioning from beginning to intermediate. Sorry, you'd make this board would be super easy to ride. You just have to size it up a bit to suit your fitness or wave reading ability, so you can catch waves. But it's a super stable little functional shape, to even put your kids on. So, but for a really good surfer, I'd suggest riding them as small as you can, because they have the foam, they have the rail line. You can get on them as small as possible. And I generally suggest for a good performance surfer, you size it to about the tip of your nose, or like the bridge of your nose. You could like stand up tall and just rest your nose on the tip of the board's nose. Like, that's how short you want it.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, that's a good gauge for a good surfer. Just size it about as the nose of the board should sit at the nose, your nose on your face when you're standing in it.
Oh wow, huh? Okay.
Yeah. And I guess we can just touch on the fins real quick.
Yes.
Like it's a thruster design. I kind of like kept the tri-fin on this one, just to give it a nice sense of control. Due to the board speed that thing carries in a lot of conditions, you're really going faster than general. Like, I found a quad kind of almost outrun the sections in a lot of situations, and it was also a little bit tricky to pivot on your backhand on going left for me, or just backside surfing. It was a little bit tricky with quads. So we went with the thruster. The Firewire V-Locks is a perfect template for that board. I really found that fin, it goes as good as any other fin for that board. And as a side note, we've also had a little bit of fun. I've had some good results trying it with the Kelly and Dolphin 2+1. So when it's super weak and mushy, you throw a 2+1 in there and you'll be just flying.
Are you using the small Nubster or the shark one, the bigger one?
Probably the little bigger one.
Okay.
So far, that's the one that, yeah, you could experiment with your back fin setup, but just a little bit of hold in the back because the tail block's so wide is good. So yeah.
Glad you mentioned it, because I know a lot of the guys that come in says, why didn't he make it as a quad also? So I'm stoked you mentioned that. Thank you. Yeah. Right on.
No worries, Buzz.
Yeah. And,
all right, mate. So we did this.
Yes. Thank you.
and enjoy the Neutrino, guys. I'm stoked to have you guys supporting me, and yeah, looking forward to another hit.
Yeah, me too. Thanks.